Glad to have everybody tuning into the show today. Let me put on some serious music because I want to spit some serious game today. Today is going to be a serious game spitting show. Today I want to talk about the Being Black in America special. I want to talk about that. I'm going to jump right into it because I really wasn't going to do a show. I've been on vacation. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be in Hawaii in a couple of days, and I've been getting ready for that. But I've been getting a lot of emails from everybody asking my opinion about the show on CNN, the CNN special Being Black in America. They're doing a 6-hour series talking about issues in the black community. And everybody wants my opinion. A lot of people want my opinion. I've been getting emails all day about this show, and I do have my opinions on it. Now, in today's episode of Being Black in America on CNN, they discuss black women and the black family, and tomorrow they're going to discuss black men. But I want to just touch on the special in general and really talk about a subject, a theme that they kept talking about, which was the phenomenon of children in the black community being born to unwed mothers. And I want to talk about why 70% of black children are born to unwed mothers or to single mothers. And we're going to talk about it for real, because the CNN, they did what everybody else do when it comes to this topic. They filibuster, they lollygag, and they deflect, and they talk about everything except the real deal. So we're going to talk about the real deal today, and some people are going to get offended. I'm just letting you know right now you're going to get offended. Because you know how I roll, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. Because, to be quite honest, I'm tired of the whole topic of it, and black folks in particular not wanting to deal with this issue realistically. And white folks, they're not going to deal with it realistically. They're going to put their little bullshit spin on it. But black folks don't like to deal with it realistically. Because the CNN special, it was what it was. It was typical. The black man is fucked up. They didn't outright, say it, but they just gave their implications about how the black man is the cause of the black family being fucked up and black men abandoning their families, and same old black man is the scapegoat shit to me. And on the show they were talking about poverty in the black community on the CNN special. And it's going to be airing all week, so you guys tune in to CNN. They air it about 3 or 4 times a day. On the show today, they talked about the poverty rate in the black community, how so many black people are in poverty. They talked about how a lot of black women are more educated than black men, and they are ready to settle down, but they can't settle down because black men are in jail, black men are undereducated, black men are not in school, black men are unemployed. Typical same old bullshit. But we're going to get to the real deal today, especially about the women having children out of wedlock. I really want to touch on that because a lot of these other subjects, I've touched on them on several shows. That's why I really don't want to get too deep into the other shit, because you can go back to my show that I did a few weeks ago, Message to Black Men. I want y'all to listen to that. That pertains to the CNN show. Then go to my show about why black women are not getting married. I did that like a year ago. Go back to the archives at maclessonsradio.com and listen for that. So I want to tackle another one, which I've been meaning to tackle. The black women and the goddamn kids. Why so many black women are having kids all willy-nilly. on the specials, they had TD Jakes on there, the typical people. They had the typical Negroes saying how the black man needs to walk up to the plate, step up to the plate. You know what, people, you niggas, and I'm trying to hold my anger, I'm trying to just, spit. Niggas are so afraid to challenge white Americans that you don't want to call white folks out, and you don't want to call black women out. And I'm tired of this shit. I'm sick of hearing it. These whack-ass excuses of why shit is fucked up. When they were talking about poverty on CNN, first, let me tackle that issue first. They get the right Negroes on there. They get Negroes who don't want to really challenge white America's and the government's role in poverty of black America. A lot of black folks, I don't know if black folks don't want to do it because they don't want to come across as being militant. But CNN, when you're on CNN, you gotta challenge them and challenge their role. Now, maybe they did and it was edited out. So, I played the devil's advocate. Maybe somebody challenged, the system of white supremacy, and they challenged them and they edited the whole shit out. That's what they do. They do that type of stuff. But when people talk about how the black community is impoverished, unemployment, the children are not learning in school, because they had that in the CNN special. They were talking about how the kids aren't learning shit, the schools are fucked up, the black community is fucked up, the people are getting evicted, people are in poverty. You never talk about why. And the real reason is not that black people are somehow inferior, and I talked about this on another show. It's not that black folks are just inherently fucked up. Back when the government was helping out white America, they were systematically shitting on black America. That's the reason why. Black folks, if you're ever doing an interview with CNN and they start talking this condescending shit about, well, damn, how come black folks just don't have it together? Tell them that. Say, look, this is what I would say if they had me on there. That's why they won't have me on there, because they get the wrong nigga, they get me. They wouldn't air none of the shit I say. I would say, look, Anderson Cooper, the reason the black community is fucked up because white people had a head start from the government. The reason why a lot of black people are living in ghettos and housing projects and slum and subpar housing is because the government gave your white family members, your mom and dads, loans, home loans that black people couldn't get, and black people were run out of white parts of town until 1968 in many cities and towns across America. A lot of black people were forced into inner cities, and the resources were taken out of these inner cities and put into the suburbs that black people couldn't even go to. A lot of the jobs were taken out of inner cities and put out in the suburbs where black people weren't allowed to go to. So that's why there's a lot of poverty in the black community. That's what you tell these fools. I don't know why niggas are afraid to say that to them in person. Niggas filibuster around that issue. And again, I've talked about this on a few shows recently. I don't want to keep, reiterating the same thing. That's why I put you guys up on that book, the Sundown Town book. That's the reason why, because, man, they're coming out with their guns now. They're really talking a lot of shit about black folks now. But black folks, start challenging these Anderson Coopers and these Bill O'Reillys when they start talking that black folks in poverty shit and, well, damn, how come y'all can't get it together? I mean, start throwing some of this shit up in their faces. Let them know why and see what they say to that. But let me get on the sisters for a minute, and that's my real issue right now, because That's a real big thing. And I've been hearing that a lot in the news about sisters can't get a man, these sisters ain't getting married, sisters got all these babies, and the black man is creating these babies and leaving the sisters to do it by themselves. And this is the real deal. And I'm going to tell you the real deal. I'm not going to do what T.D. Jakes and Tyler Perry and all these cats do. I'm not going to pander to you and tell you what you want to hear. Because a lot of these so-called black leaders and black entertainers, the black female audience is their bread and butter. So they're going to tell you what you want to hear. See, sisters, black women, especially my young black women, and just black women in general, you have to learn how to accept the truth. Like when somebody tells the truth, which I'm about to do, y'all jump up and start yelling, oh, he's bashing women. Oh, he's shitting on the black woman. Oh, he's throwing black women under the bus. No. Just let somebody tell the truth every now and then. The truth hurts sometimes. I mean, black men, we got to hear the truth about ourselves all the time. We get thrown under the bus for real. We always hear about how our shit ain't together, how we fucking up, how we're less educated. We hear this shit all the time, and that's what I heard on the CNN special tonight. One lady was talking about how a lot of black women have a hard time finding black men because when black women go to school, when they go to college, a lot of black men aren't in college, so they can't find mates. I mean, what kind of half-ass logic is that? I mean, it's a college, not a concentration camp. You can walk your ass off campus and meet some damn dudes. I mean, it was just ass-backwards logic. But again, I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear, ladies, because that's not what Tariq Nasheed does. That's not the Keen Flex method. That's what Tyler Perry movies are for. They tell you that you can go out here and have babies by a whole bunch of different dudes. And then when you're 40-some years old, you get a light-skinned dude with curly hair to wife you up. And then you're going to live happily ever after. Right? That's what y'all like to hear, right? I'm not telling you that bullshit because that's not reality. See, sisters, the thing is, a lot of you ladies, sisters, black women, you make yourself fuckable, but you don't make yourself wifeable. There's a difference between being fuckable and wifeable. Just because a dude will fuck you don't mean he's gonna wife you. You should know that. You should learn that by the time you're 13 years old. And after a while, when you're not fuckable no more, you're really ass out. I mean, there's some real hood rat shit going on with these sisters out here having these babies like that. And it's really gotten bad lately with young black women having babies all crazy. I looked at some statistics. It said that out of 1,000 white teenage girls from 15 to 19, 48 out of 1,000 will have children. But with black teenage girls 15 to 19, out of 1,000, on average, 134 of them will have children. That's a hell of a lot. So why? Why are all these sisters having all these goddamn kids, and in many cases by different dudes? Is it because these women were just sitting around all innocently and they put their trust in some no-good man and he fed them a bunch of lies and fucked them and left them? I mean, that's what we keep hearing. We always hear that. On the show on CNN tonight, they had some chick on there, some black single mother had 4 kids by some dude, you know, making it seem like she's the victim of the poor old despicable black man. But shit, I mean, don't you think you have some choices, ladies? You have choices. Like I always say, it takes 2 to tango, but it takes 1 to do the running, man. And you need to run away from some of these damn dicks if you cannot take care of these kids. You have all the choices. See, that's the problem. When it comes to responsibility about all these goddamn kids being born out of wedlock in the black community, when you start looking at the women saying, damn, why are you having all these kids? They deflect. Well, you can't get pregnant by yourself. It's these dudes. What about him? What about his responsibilities and whoop-de-whoop? And then you start focusing on the black man, and then you stop talking about why sisters are doing the shit. We're going to talk about yo asses today. I don't give a damn if you say I'm bashing or whatever. I don't give a shit. Really, I don't. And I know after this show airs, people are going to, be on your little message boards. Tariq ain't shit. Fuck him. Didn't he write that Art of Mackin book? Wasn't he on VH1? Whatever. I'm going to be on a boat in Hawaii in 2 days. I can't hear hate from there. I don't give a fuck. But I digress. But like I said, this shit is getting real crazy. It used to be the problem of girls just having babies at a young age. Now it's just women having multiple babies by multiple dudes. I mean, we keep hearing this number. 70% of black women are single, having babies, having unmarried children, having babies and they're unmarried. I mean, we keep hearing these statistics. And everybody's dancing around the goddamn subject. See, ladies, you have choices. See, when a man has sex with you, ladies, and I want my young girls to hear this, because fuck what your mama and all these people are telling you, that it's not your fault, it's the man's fault, he's no good, he ain't shit. You have choices. When a man is in a situation of dealing with a woman he's going to have a baby with, a man only has one choice. He can choose to fuck her raw or not fuck her raw. That's his only choice. A man has really no other choices when it comes to that. See, women, you have the choices. You have multiple choices when it comes to having a damn baby. When women who don't want to have kids don't have kids. It's that simple. Nobody's a victim. You're a volunteer. If you don't want to have a goddamn kid, guess what? You won't have one. You can choose not to let the nigga run up in you raw. You can choose to use birth control. There's like 10 forms of birth control that I personally know of. Norplant, Depo, the pill, the foam, the patch. I mean, there's a dozen birth control methods out there to use. And abortion, adoption, all types of shit. You don't have to have a kid if you don't want to. So stop with that shit. Talking to my young girls, the older women know, but they would rather wallow in victimhood. Young girls, this is really for you. Let me talk to my young'uns out there for a minute. My teenage girls, the teenage listeners. See, the thing is, young ladies, a lot of y'all grow up with no fathers. You grow up with no man in the house. You don't know what it's like to deal with a man. You look for a father-like love. You look for unconditional love in a man. You're desperate for the shit. And the first nigga who seems genuine, giving you some genuine attention, you ready to pop out some kids for the nigga. See, young ladies, a lot of y'all didn't grow up with fathers because your mama wasn't shit. And many of you know that your mama wasn't shit. I mean, that's a hard reality to come to grips with, that your mama ain't shit. Not all of you. Of course, there are exceptions to the rule. But in many cases, ladies, your mama wasn't shit. Let's just deal with reality. Because you hear your daddy wasn't shit all the time. We always hear your daddy ain't shit, your daddy ain't shit. Oh, my daddy wasn't shit, daddy ain't shit. So are we to believe that there's some mamas who ain't shit? There's some mamas out there who ain't shit. That's why she couldn't keep a dude. And a lot of you women, sometimes you wanted to rebel against your mom. You're like, oh, I don't want to be like my mom because I know my mom is fucked up. Subconsciously, you know that. Subconsciously, you know that your mom has a fucked up attitude. She has a slick mouth. She's disrespectful. She's a hoe. You know your mom ain't right. In many cases, not all of you. Now, if your mama is Claire Huxtable, I'm not talking about you. Don't send me no email. But a lot of you girls know what I'm talking about. You grew up with, different niggas running in and out the house. You know who you are. You know your mom ain't shit, and you wanted to rebel against your mom. You did everything you could to not be like your mom, but you couldn't help it. No matter how much you try to rebel against your parent and you're around that person, you take on their characteristics, you take on their instincts, you take on a lot of their bullshit. But again, you tried to fight it. You're like, oh, I'm not going to be like my mom. I'm going to be a good wife. I'm going to be a good chick to a dude. I'm not going to aggravate a dude like my mama did. I'm not going to run niggas off like my mama did. Yeah, your mama wasn't shit. Because your mama had you when she was 15. So her fucked up lifestyle is going to be transferred to you in many cases if you don't know how to fight it off. And it's very hard to fight off what you were raised by. That's all you know. I mean, you don't know anything else. If your mama dressed hoochie, you dress hoochie. Your mama had niggas running in and out the house, eventually you're going to have niggas running in and out the house. Your mama was smoking weed and on the pipe or whatever, you start fucking with that shit. And when you become an adolescent, because your mom is still kind of young, when you get to be 17, 18, you know you can't be up in the house because two grown-ass women can't be up in the house with each other. Two grown-ass women cannot live with each other. So your mama starts stripping because then all of a sudden, you, her daughter, you become competition because your mama, remember, she's still single. She's like 30, late 30s, early 40s, still out there trying to catch. So your mama's out there still campaigning. So not only are you not getting that love from your dad, you ain't really getting it from your mom no more. That's the part of the game that a lot of people don't like to talk about. That's why a lot of young black girls be on some bullshit when it comes to these fucking kids and getting knocked up because they ain't getting love from your dad or your mom because your mom is like, hey bitch, when you about to bounce? My dude is about to come over. Your mom don't want you around her dude. She don't want her dude looking at you. You're competition now. Because your mama know the nigga she got ain't about shit. And your mama don't want no competition. So she's going to be looking at you like, damn, bitch, you need to go to Job Corps or something. So a lot of young black girls, man, you don't get that parental love like you're supposed to. And you be on some bullshit. So you look for it in dudes or other women. That's why a lot of black girls you go to the hood, a lot of black girls hugged up with some stud. Go down to the hood, see a black girls hugged up with some bitch look like Snoop from The Wire. Man, woman, whatever. Looking for love. Are you with me, sisters? I mean, I'm trying to be as constructive as possible. I'm just saying some real shit. I'm not trying to be offensive. I'm just saying some shit that other people are afraid to say. That's one of the reasons why we got these girls out here and you out here getting knocked up at 16 and 17. That shit isn't a good look. That's not a good look at all. And then when you get in relationships with dudes, you try to control the dynamic of the relationship. When I drive around, like in LA, I always see black chicks driving around and they got her boyfriend or someone in the passenger seat. The black woman is driving the car, literally. She's in the driver's seat, literally and figuratively. I look at it and I kind of laugh. I always see some dude in a do-rag sitting in the passenger side with his chick driving. And that's the state of black relationships. The black woman is in the goddamn driver's seat, and that's the problem. Too many mother-child relationships with these men. And the reason I say that is because on the CNN special, they keep talking about how they're just no good black men. They went to the cliche about how so many black men are in jail and there's just no good educated black men out here for black women to choose. That's why a lot of black women are not married, which is a total crock of shit. And let me get back on the marriage thing. I don't want to hear that there's no good men bullshit. That's tired. It's cliche. It's not true. Whenever folks use that, call them out. Because the real deal is this. You can get a bunch of black women, put them in a room, and then get 20 black men for them to choose from. Those black men can be doctors, lawyers, and architects. And you have one who's a nigga with a do-rag, gold teeth, and his pants sagging. All the black women in the room will gravitate towards that nigga. And then later on down the line, holler about, oh damn, where the good black dudes? You gravitate towards the lowest common denominator, sisters. That's what the problem is. Good black men all around. You just don't know how to deal with them. And I've said this on several shows. There's a lot of decent brothers out here. They're not hard to find. In your mind, since you're not used to dealing with a quality dude, that dude is soft. A dude who's going to school or becoming a lawyer or whatever, oh, he's a nerd. He ain't got no swagger. Y'all go for the lowest common denominator and then you complain. Real deep shit. But the thing is, see, sisters, and I've always said this before, there's two free people, totally free people in this country, white men and black women. You guys have heard me say this before many, many times. I've said this dozens of times. Black women have freedoms that a lot of other women don't have. Like white women can't do certain things and still be socially accepted. For example, in general, a white woman can't really bring a black dude home if she's living in a white community with her family. I mean, there's some exceptions, but generally, I mean, that's still there's a negative stigma to that. White women start fucking with niggas on the sneak when they go to college. You know, they do it on the hush hush. But as far as a white chick bringing a black dude home, no. Also, a lot of white girls coming home pregnant, nah. That's still looked down upon in the white community. They had a hit movie about that, Juno. Hit movie about that. It's still kind of... And black folks, we used to be like that. You remember back in the day with black folks, There weren't that many teen mothers walking around like that back in the day. Even when I was growing up in the 80s, it wasn't a whole bunch of teen mothers popping off. You know, a girl got pregnant, they sent her ass to another school. You couldn't go to school with the regular kids. If a girl got pregnant, everybody in town kind of talked about it. It was looked down upon. They were talking about on CNN the other day. They had a panel of black journalists, and Ed, I can't think of this guy's name. I'm not going to attempt to think of his name, but he made a very important comment. He was saying that back in the day when he was growing up, when a black girl got pregnant, and they'd be like, what happened to her? The family would say, oh, she's down south. If a girl got pregnant, she would just disappear. You wouldn't see her no more. They would, quote unquote, send her down south. Because that was an embarrassment to the family. It showed irresponsibility. It made the parents look bad, like they're not raising you right. You get knocked up at 15 or 16. Wasn't a good look. We were kind of embarrassed by that, which white folks are still in. I ain't talking about hillbilly trailer white folks. I'm talking about in general. Just girls coming home knocked up, that's not a good look. And for us, the black community, it wasn't a good look for us either. Or if a girl got married real, like in the 60s and 70s, shit, she had to get, or she got knocked up, she'd have to get married. But nah, it's almost rewarded now in the black community. It's nothing. Back in the day, if a girl got pregnant, hell, and if you were a girl and your friend got pregnant, your mom wouldn't let you hang out with that girl no more. Like, oh, she's pregnant? No, you can't hang with her no more. Oh, no, let me catch you at her house. Some people say that was harsh, but I mean, it wasn't fly to get pregnant at a young age. The shit is rewarded now in our community. And I think this really started in the late 80s, early 90s. A lot of people, and I talk about this all the time, a lot of people who are teens now, their parents were drug addicts and doing all types of crazy shit in the 80s. So if your parents were on some low standard shit, you being the offspring, you doing some low budget shit ain't all that bad compared to what your mom and them was doing back in the 80s. See, the black community has always been matriarchal. The black community has always been matriarchal, always run by women. You know, especially in the hood. Especially in the ghetto, especially in the inner city, especially since the 1960s when they started giving black women incentives for being the head of the household and not having a man around with these Section 8 programs. And they start telling black women, look, we'll give you a house, food, the whole 9 yards, but you can't have a man living in the house. That happened in the mid-60s, and then the single mother phenomenon really took off then. But it wasn't a teen thing. It was just women in their 20s and 30s. They like, fuck it, I'll be the head of the household. Should I get a free house? I get free rent, free food. Shit, this is not a bad deal. But when the 80s rolled around, you start seeing these mothers do some real outlandish shit. All my players out there, y'all remember the 80s. Y'all remember what crack did to the inner city? You had niggas' mamas out here in the hood sucking dicks. That was some hell of a shit to see. I had a whole bunch of partners be like, man, the homie's mom just set it off, nigga. And so when the kids of these women grow up, their standards are fucked up just like yours. So them having a baby isn't so bad compared to the scandalous shit these parents used to do. So there's no negative repercussion for a girl to get knocked up at 15 or 16 now. And this shit is ridiculous. I get these girls who add me as their friends on MySpace, and they're like 21, 22, and they're on their second kid. It's utterly ridiculous. See, black women have had freedoms. I'm going back to the freedom thing. See, black women have had freedoms that a lot of other women haven't had. See, black women, you can do whatever you want to do. You can talk slick to niggas, and, you know, you can do whatever you want, and there's no immediate consequence. That's the thing. See, with black men, whatever we do, the consequences are swift and immediate. Even if we're not doing anything wrong, hell, we leave the house, there might be some negative consequences just doing some innocent shit for a black man. But see, black women, you get delayed consequences. See, sisters, you can have babies by different niggas, and nowadays you don't get criticized for that. People throw you baby showers. They celebrate it. They help you name your kid a fucked up ghetto name. And you can get some kickbacks from the government. Get you some little Section 8. You're straight. You get rewarded. Temporarily. But you can do anything you want to, sisters. You've had freedoms to fuck as many niggas as you want. You get high. Get your weed on. Eat like a fucking pig, and niggas will still fuck you, no matter how chubby you get. I mean, you can do anything you want. That's where that independent shit pops off too. We always hear sisters, oh, I'm independent, I'm independent. That independent thing means a lot of shit. I'm independent, I can do what I want. That means a lot of things. You can eat what you want, fuck who you want, smoke what you want, all this shit, and nothing happens. No repercussions. Immediate repercussions. But there are consequences, sisters, to your independence and your freedom. Because, see, the thing is, you have to have self-control. You have to have self-discipline. See, you're independent of yourself. That's what that really means, because you keep yelling about how independent you are, but that means, to me nowadays, that you're independent of yourself. You cannot control yourself. You do whatever you want to your own detriment, because there are consequences to your actions. And with the sisters, it's delayed. Because what happens that in your late teens and in your 20s, while you're getting high, you're smoking weed, you're eating every and any goddamn thing, and niggas are still fucking you, and you got all these kids by different dudes, and everything is cool. Then 30 rolls around. You're 30 years old. You done ate a little bit too much. You done smoked a little bit too much, and you ain't looking as hot as you used to look. It's hard to get niggas to fuck you now because you're still going to the club and you got to compete with these 21-year-old girls. So it's getting a little more difficult for you, and it's getting kind of rough. Your baby daddies ain't trying to fuck you no more. And then you look at yourself like, damn, I'm a overweight chick with 3 kids by 3 different niggas living in the fucking projects. I gotta find Captain Save-A-Hole. Then you're worried and upset that Captain Save-A-Hole ain't there. That's what I see in all these specials. Tyra Banks did a special. The same thing. You get these 30-some-year-old chicks, 40-some-year-old chicks who done lived a hard-ass life, got all these kids by different niggas, and smoked, drank, fucked, did all this shit, and then they're ready for Captain Save-A-Hole to come along, and he's not there. Now all niggas ain't shit. Bullshit. You ain't shit because of your choices. That's what happens. You have to make better choices. There's no way around that shit. And another thing is another phenomenon with a lot of young black women, not just young black women in general nowadays. You want to get respect that's not earned. And all of a sudden, when you're in your 30s and you got all these kids, you want a nigga to respect you like you a Mother Teresa and treat you like you like wifey material, but you're not wifey material now. The singer Erykah Badu has been criticized recently for having 3 kids by 3 different dudes. And she was going off on a website on some of the fans about it because she was getting criticized, so she wanted to respond to some of the fans. And I read like one sentence and I couldn't read no more. The first line of her response was, "Respect the queendom." I stopped reading right there. I'm like, I'm not reading this bullshit. Sound like this woman that smoked some weed and wrote some shit. Having 3 kids by 3 different niggas and respect the queendom is a contradiction of terms. That's not queenly. I don't want to hear how you can't justify that. There's no way to justify it. Sisters, y'all can't keep doing reckless shit on your independent rant, doing disrespectful things and expect us black men to show you respect for it. It just doesn't happen. Because the thing is, y'all try to hold on to the glory that the women in the 60s and the 50s, y'all want to try to be on that Rosa Parks shit. When the feminists helped coin the phrase strong black woman. That was something that the feminists helped coin back in the 60s. Strong black woman. Respect the strong black woman. That was some shit with the Black Panthers, were women who earned it. Women today try to run with that torch without living up to the glory of it. And it don't work like that. You can't hold up the respect torch and you ain't doing respectable shit. You can't sit up and be like, oh, niggas need to wife me up, and you're not wifey material. I mean, that's a harsh reality, but you got to really accept that. You know, the rapper Kia, is her name Kia or Kaya? Is one of those, but she made that song, "My Neck, My Back, Lick My Pussy and My Crack." And she had another song, "Respect Me." RESPC, respect me. I mean, it's just a contradiction of terms. You want somebody to lick your pussy or your crack or respect you? Which one you want? Y'all got to make a goddamn choice. Y'all try to play both sides of the fence. Like Erykah Badu, I don't give a fuck if she's upset about what I'm saying. I don't give a fuck. I think she's crazy as cat shit. But she tries to play the herbal tea mother of earth. But you got 3 fucking baby daddies. That ain't a good look. That's hood rat shit. But I want to talk about why. Another reason, or some other reasons why we have so many girls out here having babies at a young age out of wedlock. I'm going to talk about the main 3 reasons, and I'm going to be up out of here. I'm going to talk about the main 3 reasons why a lot of black women today are having a bunch of goddamn kids like fucking pit bulls. Number 1, they have a bunch of kids, or they have a kid by a dude to keep them around. That's one of the reasons. Because they've seen their mother get abandoned so much by different dudes, they're like, okay, if I can have a baby by this dude, at least he'll come around for the kid. That's their logic. Which is bullshit, but that's one of the reasons. Another reason, which is a very important reason, that people don't like to talk about, While a lot of black women are having babies out of wedlock, especially multiple babies by multiple dudes, and it's very rare to find a black woman who's like 30 with no kids. That's not a diss. It's not shitting on sisters, but you rarely see that. If you see a sister who's 30 with no kids, usually something wrong with her physically, like her uterus then fell out or some shit. You rarely see a 30-year-old black woman with no kids. Rarely. I mean, I know they're out there, but you rarely see that. But there's this thing in the black community now that's really, really indicative of American black women, of having multiple baby daddies. I don't see that with Latina chicks, because Mexican chicks, they be 60 years old, be with the same dude since they were 14. I don't see it with white girls. With black women, it's always multiple dudes. On some Maury Povich shit. You remember Maury Povich? They had the show with the chicks be on there. It'd be like 8 different dudes who might be the baby's dad. That's some real shit. It's a very awful stereotype, but it's some real shit. It's nothing to see a black female with 2 and 3 baby daddies, maybe 4. I know some with 5. I know girls who got 5 kids by 5 different dudes. And I hope my young girls are still here listening. A lot of that shit stems from slavery. That mentality is a holdover from slavery. Back in slavery, black women, their primary goal was to breed. They were used to breed for profit. That was the purpose of black women back then. They would mate them with different bucks, and they would have kids to increase profit. And even the massa got in on the shenanigans himself. It's a direct correlation. That's some slave shit that a lot of sisters still have. I know that's hard to internalize, but that's some real shit. Y'all gotta get that slave shit out your system of just breeding with any and every fucking dude. That's some Kizzy Kente shit. And I know some women are like, well, what about them, man? Well, we hear about them. We heard enough about them. It's time to get on your ass again. We hear about the brothers all the time and how fucked up and they shouldn't abandon their family, which I agree. If you have kids, take care of your kids as a man. I'm not letting the brothers off the hook at all, but we hear about how fucked up they are all the time, but you are sitting around like you Coretta Scott King with your 4-5 kids. If you don't want to have kids, you don't have them. Which brings me to the third reason why a lot of these black women out here are having kids, especially at a young age. When you have kids, that's a perfect excuse for failure. You notice in the hood, a lot of women have kids, especially if you live in the inner city, in the hood, in the projects. They just happen to have kids at 19, 18, 17. That's like throwing in the towel. What these girls do, they're like, okay, I'm in the hood. I don't want to go to school. I'm not really going to be anything. So if I have a kid, I can at least say, well, shit. This will be my excuse. So when somebody say, well, damn, how come you ain't in school? Oh, I had a baby. The niggas knocked me up. I'm a victim. Oh, I was going to be a model, but I had a baby, so I had to stop that. I was going to be a lawyer, but whew, boy, them niggas knocked me up. So you get to blame 2 people. You get to blame the niggas that fuck you, and you get to blame the kid. You didn't have anything to do with nothing. You were about to be on the road to riches if it wasn't for niggas fucking you and this baby. The perfect excuse. Cut that shit out. That's a loser move. Get your asses up out of the hood if you're in the hood. Get your shit together. I know the morality of the inner city is just crazy. And not the morale is fucked up as well. A lot of people say, fuck it, why even try? My mama wasn't shit, my grandma wasn't shit, so why should I try? You can't have that mentality. You're going to have to break the fucking cycle. I mean, you're destined for greatness. You weren't put here on earth to sit up here and just pop out kids by some fucking loser. That's a loser move, and nobody's buying the, oh shit, I was gonna do this, I was gonna be an architect, but I got nobody's buying that. It's a loser move. Sisters, y'all gotta cut that shit out. Young girls, don't let your mama tell you that shit is cool. Because if your mama's a loser, she's comfortable with you being a loser too. Don't be like your mama if your mama ain't shit. Don't be like your friends if your friends ain't shit. Misery loves company. Don't be like Tarquisha Nim and Baquiba and all. Don't be like your little bullshit hood rat ass friends. That's not a good look. Get your shit together and live fly. And you older women out there, and I'm not shitting on y'all saying that your shit can't be right. Let's say, women, you did have a kid or two by some niggas. You in your 30s, your 40s, and you really... You want to get married. You got to get your mind right. You got to get rid of that old bullshit frame of thought that you had when you were in your 20s, because you can't come at niggas like that no more. See, you can come at niggas real crazy when you're 20, 21, because niggas still wanted to fuck you. Because your body and shit was intact. You were fly, you didn't have no baggage, you were cool. But now that you're a little older, you can't be... You still trying to talk to niggas like you in your 20s. You ain't know. You got to get your mind ultra right. You got to come at a nigga with 110% cooperation. That's the only thing that's going to make you fly. Cooperation. Because women, when men get in a position to marry a female, when he gets older, really when he gets older and established, his tolerance for bullshit is going to be out the window. If this dude has the means to support a wife and a family, he's going to have options. And he's definitely not going to opt to take care of no woman who's disrespectful with some disrespectful ass kids at all. So you're going to have your mind right. You're going to have to talk to niggas correctly. You're going to have to be on some Claire Huxtable shit. Radio.com and listen for that. So I want to tackle another one, which I've been meaning to tackle. The black women and the goddamn kids. Why so many black women are having kids all willy-nilly. On the specials, you know, they had TD Jakes on there, you know, the typical people. They had the typical Negroes saying how the black man needs to walk up to the plate, step up to the plate. You know what, people, you niggas, and I'm trying to hold my anger, I'm trying to just, spit. Niggas are so afraid to challenge white Americans that you don't want to call white folks out, and you don't want to call black women out. And I'm tired of this shit. I'm sick of hearing it. These whack-ass excuses of why shit is fucked up. When they were talking about poverty on CNN, glad to have everybody tuning into the show today. Let me put on some serious music because I want to spit some serious game today. Today is going to be a serious game-spitting show. Today I want to talk about the Being Black in America special. I want to talk about that. I'm going to jump right into it because I really wasn't going to do a show. I've been on vacation. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be in Hawaii in a couple of days, and I've been getting ready for that. But I've been getting a lot of emails from everybody asking my opinion about the show on CNN, the CNN special Being Black in America. They're doing a 6-hour series talking about issues in the black community. And everybody wants my opinion. A lot of people want my opinion. I've been getting emails all day about this show, and I do have my opinions on it. Now, in today's episode of Being Black in America on CNN, they discussed black women and the black family. And tomorrow, the guys tune into CNN. They air it about 3 or 4 times a day. On the show today, they talked about the poverty rate in the black community, how so many black people are in poverty. They talked about how a lot of black women are more educated than black men, and they are ready to settle down, but they can't settle down because black men are in jail, black men are undereducated, black men are not in school, black men are unemployed. Typical same old bullshit. But we're going to get to the real deal today, especially about the women having children out of wedlock. I really want to touch on that because a lot of these other subjects, I've touched on them on several shows. That's why I really don't want to get too deep into the other shit, because you can go back to my show that I did a few weeks ago, Message to Black Men. I want y'all to listen to that. That pertains to the CNN show. Then go to my show about why black women are not getting married. I did that like a year ago. Go back to the archives at Mac Lesson. Because, to be quite honest, I'm tired of the whole topic of it, and black folks in particular not wanting to deal with this issue realistically. Yeah, white folks, they're not going to deal with it realistically. They're going to put their little bullshit spin on it. But black folks don't like to deal with it realistically. Because the CNN special, it was what it was. It was typical. The black man is fucked up. They didn't outright, say it, but they just gave their implications about how the black man is the cause of the black family being fucked up and black men abandoning their families, and same old black man is the scapegoat shit to me. And on the show, they were talking about poverty in the black community on the CNN special. And it's going to be airing all week, so you guys are going to discuss black men. But I want to just touch on the special in general and really talk about a subject, a theme that they kept talking about, which was the phenomenon of children in the black community being born to unwed mothers. And I want to talk about why 70% of black children are born to unwed mothers or to single mothers. And we're going to talk about it for real, because the CNN, they did what everybody else do when it comes to this topic. They filibuster, they lollygag, and they deflect, and they talk about everything except the real deal. So we're going to talk about the real deal today, and some people are going to get offended. I'm just letting you know right now, you're going to get offended. Because you know how I roll, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything.